Hi everybody, I have a brand new stamp set from Blue Knight Rubber Stamps. This one is called Heaven's Gate, and so I'm going to attempt to make pearl gates. So I have my Tim Holtz stamp platform here. I have it on the rubber side because this is a red rubber stamp. There is a little half a piece of sticky grid in here. This has made my life so much easier. This is the Sizzix sticky grid sheets. You want the ones that are not permanent. So it's the one that have a teal label. They say sticky grid. If it's permanent, that's not what you want because that'll rip your paper. So, and then there's a little piece of like cover sheet on there. So we're just going to pull that off. And then I have a piece of, I believe this is 5 1/4 by 4, some dark blue cardstock we're going to put down on there. And we're going to put our gate on there, but I want space down at the bottom. So, we're going to line that up there. And what's nice is I can see the little grid lines there on the sticky grid. So I'm pretty sure that I have it lined up nicely. Okay, so I'm actually going to use some Brutus Monroe Pearl Embossing Powder, but I'm pretty sure this is pretty translucent. So in order to make sure that it does show up when we're stamping it, I am going to stamp it with some Whisper White craft ink. So what that means is it will be white. When we put the pearl on it, it'll show through. And since this is a pigment ink, it's pretty sticky. And let me do some anti-static before I forget. Okay. Oh, missed the whole middle there. Oops, bumped you guys. All right, I'm gonna do just, oops, a little more ink in the center here. All right, and so now I can pull this panel off. Heat our heat gun up for a second before we go to the embossing powder. have our pearly gates. I'm going to give that just a second to cool down, and clean my stamp off quick. All right, so now I have off to the side here the pan pastels. So we're going to bring those in, and we're going to add some color to this scene. So Blue Night Rubber Stamps has a brand new reverse cloud stencil. Bring that in here. And we're going to add a whole bunch of light blue clouds in here using our Day and Night Pan Pastel palette from Blue Night Rubber Stamps. So you can see that there. Grabbing my little sponges. Oh, let me grab some paper towels. And I'm just going to go in with some light turquoise there and just fill in. And then as I go up, I will kind of tilt the stencil as I fill in. Some soft circular motions there. Okay, that's the turquoise tint. We're going to go into regular turquoise now. A little bit darker colors. Okay, a little bit across the top there. Now, the reason I left the bottom open was so that I could do the same thing, but I want to use white. So let me grab my white. Because again, we want it to look heavenly. All right, and then I can go in with the blender in a second here and blend it in. So before I do that, I do want to add a little bit more color to this. Get my lid on here. Okay. And it's really simple. All we're going to do is just color in those little bushes that they have there. And we're just going to use color pencils for that. So I have the Carbothello Stabilo chalk pencils, pastel pencils, whatever you want to call them. And you can see we have some bushes here. So we're going to go in with this green. There's no real names on these, so I'll just start coloring. And just coloring right over that embossing powder. And it's real subtle because the embossing powder is kind of filling in some of those areas. I want to take some of this pink. There are some flowers here where I can go in and do a little bit of detail work on the flowers. Okay. I don't have a gray in here. I need a gray. Let me grab my other pencils. Just coloring in the steps here. And we do have some little, I don't know if you would call them urns, but they are there. Color those in dark green. It's hard to see because they're that embossing powder just takes right over. All right, so now, not embossing powder, pan pastel. I'm going to grab some of my colorless blender and try to smooth some of that out and see how it looks. We do have some brick. I do want to color the brick in a little bit. They're pearly gates, but, I'm going to say that the brick is a little red here, okay? Just to give it some color. Oh, I should have colored them in white. That would have probably been better, but that's okay. Okay, now we have our pearly gates. Now we're going to use some colorless blender and kind of smooth our clouds down a little bit. Just take a little bit, although that's probably more than a little bit, and just going to swipe across our clouds. Gives us that kind of misty look. And then whatever you don't like, you can always go back in there and fix it. So I lost some of my blue. I want to go put some blue back in there. Can go in and do that. My eraser. Here it is. that is a little better by cleaning out some of that pan pastel finish and adding some color in there. It's just by sharpening the tips here. Get some of the detail back. Okay, and I don't like the red, so I'm going to take it out. Why? Because I can. That's what's fun about using pan pastels. Okay, so now I can say, I don't like that. What do I want to do? Maybe I want to go back in and add some white for it to truly be pearly. Okay, do it again over here. So that's what's freeing about using chalk pencils and the pan pastels, is if you don't like something, you can erase it and start over again. Some of these I'll go in and add a little bit more color to. That looks a lot better to me. So now we have the literal pearly gates. We can add some yellow to our flowers. Let me get a nice sharp point on here. Okay, there we go. And then we can stamp our sentiment. There we go. Okay, and then the sentiments that came with the stamp set are, well done, my good and faithful servant, and welcome home. So on this one, plenty of room to add it on the bottom there. And you want to stamp it before you do your fixative for your pan pastels. Oh, we're going to take that mat out because it's a rubber stamp. Okay, and since I have the pan pastels there, I should be able to stamp this out no problem. We're going to use the VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink for a handy dandy Blue Night Rubber Stamps handle on there, so I don't drop the ink pad. And we're going to do it one more time. Okay, we're just going to let that ink dry, and then we'll spray it with our fixative, and we are done. This would make a really nice sympathy card. What do you think? Do you like my pearly gates? Let me know what you guys think about it. If you have any questions, post them down below. I will link all of the products that I use for you down in the description. Thanks for watching, and keep on stamping. Bye-bye.